Hello and welcome back to my channel. So if you've been watching the videos on my channel, you probably already know that I just had a baby, and as of today he's 3 weeks old, and so I'm going to try my best to keep posting videos of what the pregnancy was like, what the birth was like, and those ones are already up, and what the newborn life is like. So today I'm doing a video, as you can see from the title, about what to expect when you have a newborn. So one of the main things I wanted to know when I was prepping for this birth and this newborn life was basics. Like, what does a day look like with a newborn? What exactly is so hard, other than crazy sleep deprivation? How many diapers or nappies do you need? How many bottles do you need? Just little things that I just never really felt like I got a straight answer for. I can see why now, but I'm going to explain what a day in the life for me and my newborn is like, and so you have an idea of what to kind of prepare for. So we are exceptionally lucky, and we have had our newborn baby on a schedule from day 3. So a lot of people say that you can't have newborns on a schedule, and I can see why. For most babies, you're pretty much just going to feed them when they cry, change them when they cry, and cuddle them basically all other times and hope that they're sleeping all other times. Not all babies can go on a schedule for that reason, because they're on their own schedule. They might be hungry every half hour, they might be hungry every hour, and you really just can't schedule them. For our baby though, we have had him on formula from day 3. So what happened with us is that day 1 and day 2 were hellish because they do what's called purple crying. Purple crying is just incessant crying, hysterical crying, which nobody tells you about, and it's devastating to hear. And on day 3, our pediatrician for him came to visit us and told us that for people of like Indian background or Asian background, your milk may not come in for 7 to 10 days sometimes. And so she said that we could keep waiting for my milk to come in, which is what people are waiting for in those first few days, or we could start him on formula. And we were like, I have 2 things happening at once. I have my cat coming to visit and my baby who needs me. Hold on. Okay, so in terms of milk, we thought, because the videos and classes we'd been to, we thought that your milk would come in within 3 to 5 days. So that's what we were waiting for. But literally nothing was happening for me. I didn't even have colostrum really, which is what comes in before your milk comes in. And so we were just watching our poor baby cry and cry and cry. And basically, if your milk hasn't come in and your baby has lost quite a bit of weight, more than 10% of its birth weight, they'll put you on formula anyways, and that's why a lot of babies lose weight, apparently, in the first few days following the birth, because they're waiting for the milk to come in and their weight drops in the meantime. That was terrifying to us, and we really didn't want to worry about any of that. And we had always planned on formula feeding just because we anticipated problems with breastfeeding for various other medical reasons. And so we put him on formula. We started on day 3 with a 3-hour rotation. So every 3 hours, we'd feed him another bottle of formula, and the nurses calculated what that was for us. So apparently it's like something like 150 milliliters times your baby's birth weight divided by the number of bottles you plan to give per day. So if you're giving bottles every 3 hours, that's 8 bottles. So you divide by 8, and that's how much milliliters you need per bottle. So that was really confusing to me when we first started. I was very glad the nurses and the midwives were just in charge of bringing us the exact milliliter bottle, because we were extremely confused. And on day 3 that we tried this rotation, every 3 hours, basically hour 1, so if we were doing it like, midnight, 3 a.m., 6 a.m., 9 a.m., etc., hour 1 would be us feeding him the bottle. So we would get the bottle, warm the bottle in some hot water, and then feed him the bottle, burp the baby, change the baby, and then put him back to sleep, and he would sleep for hour 2 and hour 3. We found that for hour 3, we were always having to wake him up for the next feed, and it meant that we could never possibly sleep for more than an hour and a half to 2 hours because we could only sleep once he was settled, which he's not right now. Hang on again. And so we asked the nurses if we had to feed him every 3 hours, because that's what we were originally told, which is why we started the 3-hour plan. We were told that it could be every 3 to 4 hours if he seemed okay with that. So we changed it to a 4-hour rotation on day 4, and that's what we've been following ever since. So for us, the newborn rotation for the past 3 weeks, since he's 3 weeks as of today, has been the following. 4-hour rotation, meaning that we feed at midnight, 4 a.m., 8 a.m., noon, 4 p.m., 8 p.m. So that's 6 feeds a day. So again, with that calculation, you do the 150 milliliters. I don't know where they get that number from, but anyways, 150 milliliters times his birth weight, which for us was 2.81 kilograms, and then dividing by the number of bottles you're going to give today per day, which is 6. So 6 times 4 is a 24-hour rotation. So we have 6 bottles a day, and on day 6, my milk came in. So what we decided to do, because my milk came in and we decided to just work with that as long as we could, because again, we just don't know how long I'll be able to breastfeed for various reasons. So what we did was, in that 4-hour rotation, I would offer breast milk first, so he'll feed from me. He'll usually feed, and you can expect your newborn to feed for approximately 20 minutes. And what we were told to do is to feed off of one boob the first time, and then the next feed off of the second boob. So you alternate between the two each feed. And my husband came up with a very clever solution, because you're so forgetful and there's so much information being given to you, that he brought me one of my bracelets from home, so that if it was time if I was feeding on this breast, I would then move the bracelet to this wrist, so that I know that I'm supposed to use that boob the next time. And so that worked really well at first, because your boobs are so full and so enlarged, and both hurt quite a bit, that it really helped me to have the bracelet going back and forth so I could figure out which one he needed to drink from. Just as of today, it's the first time I've taken off that bracelet, because I can now feel which one I last had him feed from, because one will feel empty and the other one will feel hard and full. So I've stopped wearing the bracelet just temporarily, just because I took a shower. So as simple as that. So in terms of the 4-hour rotation, like I was saying, so it's breast milk is offered first. He'll feed for 10 to 20 minutes, which is typical for a newborn. As they become older and more efficient at feeding, apparently that will reduce to 5 to 10 minutes. But for now, he has a very little mouth and he has a very little tummy. And so he'll feed from me for about 20 minutes. Then my husband, in the meantime, whilst I'm feeding, he'll go and prep a bottle. So he'll come and offer a bottle to him after I've fed him. So I'll feed him breast milk, my husband will burp him, he'll then give him the bottle, and then he'll burp him again. So that whole process, my 20 minutes and then his 20 minutes, takes us to about the 40-minute mark. Then we spend about 10 to 15 minutes settling him and put him back into his bassinet, and then he'll sleep hour 2 and sleep hour 3. If we're lucky, he'll sleep the 4th hour. Generally, he'll start waking up into the 3rd hour about half an hour before he's due to be fed, which is perfect, because then we'll change his diaper or nappy then, and then it's time for a feeding. So he works really, really well on the 4-hour rotation. He pretty much is like clockwork. You'll always know that it's nearly feeding time, not because we're watching the clock necessarily. I do set an alarm in the night, but because he'll wake up half an hour before he's due to have a feed, which is perfect for us because we can get things all sorted for him. And so it works really well. And so for us, we use 6 bottles a day, since we're mixed breastfeeding and formula feeding. So 6 bottles a day, and we go through about 6 to 8 nappies a day, which is what you should expect for a newborn. So again, I have no idea when I ask people for numbers and things like that why I didn't get like those kinds of answers, but that is what to expect. 6 to 8 nappies are good. You are supposed to have that many. And they typically, ours are pretty much half and half, pee and poo. Most of them are both. And so you'll have a lot. So expect to go through at 6 to 8 nappies a day, meaning that you're going through several hundred a month. I don't know that I'm trying to do mental math in my head. 6 times 7 days is 42 nappies. So we'll round that up to about 50 nappies a week. So about 200 nappies a month. So you go through a lot. So that's the 4-hour rotation, and that's what you should expect in terms of the amount of diapers you're going to need. In terms of wipes for the diapers, unless you're like the most efficient wiper ever and you have the cleanest baby ever, there's no way you can wipe with one wipe. So we use like 2 to 3 wipes per nappy change, which I imagine is going to continue. So you go through about, if you're going through 2 to 3 wipes per change, so again, some mental math here, 3 times maybe 6 diapers a day, so 18 wipes, let's round that to 20, so 20 wipes a day times 7 days a week, 140 wipes. So you're going through a lot of wipes, and so you're going to need to buy a lot of both. So that is what to expect in terms of numbers. So I know for me, when I was trying to work out, you know, what should I buy, how much should I buy, and those kinds of things, I definitely just couldn't work out the numbers of everything. And so for diapers and nappies, that's what you should expect. For the bottles, again, depending on what you're doing, if you're breastfeeding, you won't need the bottles, obviously. If you're exclusively formula feeding or you're mixed feeding like I am, the mixed feeding, what we do, because we have an amazing machine, which we absolutely love, and if I can remember, I'll try and link it down below, but we have the Tommy Tippy Perfect Prep machine. So what it does is you pick on the machine what ounce bottle you want, because basically the rule of thumb apparently is like for every hour they need an ounce of milk. So if you feed every 3 hours, you give a 3-ounce bottle. If you feed every 4 hours, you give a 4-ounce bottle. And so you can pick in milliliters or in ounces how big of a bottle you want the machine to prep. So if you say you want like a 4-ounce bottle, you yourself put in the amount of formula needed according to the can of how much you need for a 4-ounce bottle of formula. So once you put the formula in the bottle, you put that in the machine, and the machine will sterilize the formula or squirt it with hot water or whatever it is it's doing. Then put in the exact amount of water in there. Then it will put it into the bottle in a way that makes it in perfect room temperature, so that in 3 seconds you have a perfect room temperature bottle ready for your baby. So in the middle of the night, you can imagine, that is amazing. You don't need to do anything. You literally just plop in your formula, which you can do in advance, to a bunch of bottles, and then you just stick it in the machine. So we love it. We think it's the greatest thing ever. And for us, since we don't need one giant big bottle of milk, we need 6 bottles with a little bit in each bottle. So for example, on average, after my baby is fed from me, he'll want about 20 milliliters to about 40 milliliters extra, which is like this much. But whatever it is that we're doing, we input that on the machine. So it makes 1 bottle. My husband then pours it into 5 other bottles. So we have 6 bottles that he preps at the beginning of the day that have 40 milliliters in each one. And so for every feed that I do at the midnight, 4 a.m., 8 a.m., etc. mark, he pulls that bottle out of the fridge, puts it in a cup of hot water, because our bottle warmer wouldn't work. I don't know why. And the hot water works just fine. And so he'll sit it in the hot water whilst I'm breastfeeding, and by the time I finish breastfeeding, the formula is at the perfect temperature, and then we feed that to the baby. So he makes all 6 bottles at 8 a.m. each morning, and then you can keep formula bottles in the fridge for 24 hours. So it works for us. It works perfectly for us. Obviously, when the baby's older, he'll just make the bottle on demand at the time, because then it will be at room temperature, perfect from the machine, because baby will drink the whole thing when he's exclusively formula feeding. But for now, he feeds predominantly from me and then gets a top up with formula afterwards, and it works out great. So that is a day in the life of a newborn mom. So we literally are on that 4-hour rotation, and it's really manageable. Our baby sleeps great. That's why I'm so awake and not crazy exhausted, because I get 2 to 3 hour stretches throughout the day. If I truly wanted to, I could probably try pumping and then have my husband give a breast milk bottle as well as a formula bottle, so that I could sleep for a longer stretch. But so far it's working the way it is, and I'm just not going to get into pumping just because I don't want to like create like an oversupply and then risk producing too much and then risk getting like mastitis and things like that. So I'm just not willing to go into the pumping world yet. So I haven't yet tried that. And I'm hoping not to. So we'll see what happens with that. But basically, that is the day in life for a newborn. So I hope that was helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to post them down below. I'm home all day, every day, so I'm happy to read the comments and do more videos and answer your questions if you have any, because I know I watch all kinds of YouTube videos trying to prep as much as I could for what newborn life was like. And I'm feeling pretty comfortable with how well things are going. So if I can help you, please don't hesitate to comment down below. And I wish you all the best with your newborn. Thanks for watching. Bye!